One of ICFF's most fundamental goals from the start has been to encourage the development of co-productions between Italy and Canada. We have successfully accomplished this goal by creating a strong foundation for a vast network of filmmakers from both countries. ICFF has aided many industry professionals through the various stages of film production and presented these works to the general public by including them in our programming, promoting them to buyers, distribution companies, and media outlets. The work that is required to co-produce a film is similar to creating an international gourmet dinner. The results are worth a celebration, but obtaining results requires passion, dedication, and a flair for handling cultural diversity. In recent years, dozens and dozens of film productions have been the result of a collaboration between Italy and Canada. Our mandate is to continue encouraging filmmakers and helping to establish meaningful connections through ICFF Industry Day, which we plan to continue, expand, and develop even further in the future.
As I watched that video, I can't help but look at the titles that were coming up on screen and realize that a lot of them in some way had a connection through ICFF and connections that were made over the years. So hopefully, as we get into our conversation today about co-productions, we can spur more of that collaboration, of that discussion. I'm going to start with Francesca Accinelli from Telefilm Canada. Francesca, while we understand there's what's called a treaty co-production agreement between Canada and Italy, what exactly does that mean? And what's the difference between, say, a typical co-production and official treaty co-production?
So this is my opportunity to pitch Canada to all of you sitting outside of Canada. We want to promote collaboration. For example, we have exceptional, 4 seasons of locations with time zones from coast to coast to coast. We have vibrant multicultural cities. We have the next wave of Indigenous film creators and television creators. We have sought after creative and technical teams, state-of-the-art production services. More and more studios are being built. Many of you are at Pinewood right now. We have official treaty co-productions with nearly 60 partners across the country. We truly are here to foster and promote the development of the audiovisual industry. And it's really important for us to be able to have these moments to engage with you, to share the work that we do. And more and more, we are trying to encourage sustainable production practices and responsible and community engagement around how we are working with the land and working on the land. We have 4 pillars. We provide financial support through a number of different programs at Telefilm Canada, whether it's development, film production, film festivals, conferences, export. We promote creativity at markets such as Cannes, Berlin, South by Southwest, more than 60 countries. So, I think that's one of the things to look at. It can be Canada and Italy, but it can be Canada, Italy, and another country. And sometimes Canada can play a wonderful connecting role when one country doesn't have a treaty. We can be that bridge between other countries. I thought it would be great to sort of just say, here's who's in the Canadian landscape of funders. So when you want to work with the Canada Media Fund or Telefilm Canada, this is where you want to be an official treaty co-production. When you're deemed as an official treaty co-production, we see you as Canadian, and therefore you're able to access much more financing from our country. But there are incredible tax programs, both federal and provincial, that also allow for that collaboration work that people might do. There are provincial agencies, like one of the sponsors, Ontario Creates, who also have their own incentives in their programs. How do you find a co-producer? Well, there are a few ways. My team try and be present most places internationally to set up those networking conversations at pavilions. And we'll look at expanding more and more even online to make sure we're more present. Canadian producers regularly update their profiles. So you can actually use that as a catalog to go in and see what producers are up to, whether they meet your needs in terms of genre or storytelling, or even whether it's television, VR, AR, or feature film. Here are some of the ones that were official treaty co-productions. We want more of this to happen. What great collaborations. I hope that we can really stimulate more of those relationships. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Let's turn over to Enrico from Mestiere Cinema. Tell us a bit about producing a film in Italy.
With my company, we normally work as an executive producer or production service company for foreign companies that come to shoot to Italy. Since 2014, which is the year where the tax credit was introduced, the Italian tax credit was introduced, and it has really developed our industry very much, because it came out that it was a phenomenal instrument to attract foreign productions to Italy. A new system has been introduced in order to facilitate the return of the money to the foreign producer. So we and actually allow small companies like ours to work for big productions,
Right.
even with big budgets, because now we have the possibility, when the production is over and we have a residual tax credit, because normally you cannot use it all during production,
Right.
we have the possibility to sell this credit to financial institutions mainly. The main financial institution that is working, that is active on this aspect is one of the main Italian banks. This speeds up a lot the process of giving back the credit to the foreign producer.
Right. I'm going to turn it over to Robert and Andrea. With Across the River and Into the Trees being set in Venice, first of all, tell us how you two came together, and then in particular, the collaboration between the two of you on the film.
It would have been terrific to make it as a co-production, but the way that the elements came together was something that was not possible. We have on our slate a number of other films that will probably be co-productions.
Take advantage of it.
Venice is a beautiful place to shoot, and the process was that we went through with to find out. It was a bit of a learning curve, I can tell you, the tax credit and the Veneto grants and all the things that came together on the film. But ultimately, I got involved with Andrea through my attorney in Rome, Filomena Cusano, who's very knowledgeable about the landscape in Italy, and learned a bit about how the tax credits work, and learned a little bit about a grant system that was coming together in Veneto.
Right.
It was a system from the EU that gave Venice, their regional grants. In other words, they have these grants in each region of Italy, and they vary in terms of how much funds are available annually for these grants. It was terrific to work in Venice, and in fact, we've got a number of films on the slate that we are going to do in Italy as a result, because of the
Fantastic.
incredible cooperation and great locations and the beauty
Right.
of the place in general. I mean, the whole of the country is an incredible backlot.
And Andrea, this is, you've got a production services company in Italy that collaborates with a lot of foreign producers. Tell us a little bit about sort of your process
Well, actually, Robert tell everything about the movie. So
Yeah.
the first thing that we benefit, as you said, from the Veneto grant. So
Right.
it was a huge help, because we got almost 1,300,000 euro. That is a
Yeah.
huge benefit. It was the first batch of the new Veneto fund that in the next year it will be increased. So it was very interesting. I mean, as Robert say, the thing that make complicated in a way but simple in another way were that we shot when Venice was literally empty.
Right.
So normally in Venice, if you guys have been, is a very busy city.
Yes.
It's quite complicated sometimes to block people for do some scene like iconic scene like San Marco Square or the other
Right.
like landmark of Venice. We got like this city that was completely empty, so we shot in San Marco Square that we have more security than people that was around, like literally
Right.
in one shot that we have on the path. At the end of the day, I mean, it was a fantastic experience in order to do it. And then literally, when the tax credit in Italy was improved, there was a blessing again of the Italian production system.
Mm-hmm.
When the tax credit and the movies started to increase, also the local authority understand better how the film business improve all the economy.
The local economy recognizes the benefit
Yeah.
of a film production.
I would simply say that there are just huge, huge opportunities for co-productions between Canada and Italy. Obviously, it always comes down to finding a great story. But if you start from the beginning, where you can map it out and go, who are the people from Canada who are going to be involved in this? Is there a writer
Right.
who can take this property and
Right.
build it into the film that you need so it can compete internationally and build that from the ground up? Then I see limitless opportunities.
George, who's in LA,
George.
actually recently just finished directing a film in Italy. George, I understand you did that remotely. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? And
Yeah, that section of the film I did remotely. We were lucky in that we had a screenplay that took place literally, a third of the story took place in Rome and 2/3 of it took place in the American South. The serial killer in Rome who gets away, and the Italian police are looking for him, and then he ends up running to the American South and hides out, and then starts is plying his awful craft again, and an American cop realizes there's an international component to these murders, and a lot of it was just me on the computer and the phone saying, okay, have him run past this, have him run past that, so in that way it was challenging, but like I say, I knew everybody. I knew the cinematographer, and I knew a lot of the folks.
I guess part of the thing that came out of the pandemic was that ability to do that remotely, where they were able, I'm assuming, to stream live to you in LA as you were watching things happen. And
yeah, it's not something I would ever want to really do again. I mean, it's I would rather be there. I just couldn't for a couple of reasons. The part of directing a movie that was more like being a little bit of a traffic cop.
So I'm a filmmaker from Canada. I want to come to Italy. I want to produce a TV series or a film. You'd help me navigate it. We get in contact. Can you talk me through sort of how that works?
Well, let's talk about this specific case. I mean, this has been a project which has really happened like this. I mean, the idea of working with a director like Joe Wright and his team was so stimulating that we really put all our efforts in making that film. Joe Wright is a director that doesn't like to work in theater studio. He wants to film the whole he wants to make the whole film. He wants to make the whole film on location. We actually have another project together, what we're supposed to do next year, and he said, no studio, all location. It was very, very difficult. We know we had a cast because we had Haley and Peter were already attached to it. We had a production designer, we had a DOP. I mean, so an incredible creative team. And so we were very lucky because we went to Sicily. We scouted for a week with Joe, production designer and producer. We work on the schedule. We do the schedule together with the producer, with the ADs, and based on the schedule, we make a proper budget. Ideas were coming over ideas. I mean, the challenge was the logistics of bringing everything to Sicily, which is Sicily is like paradise on earth.
You start with locations. You start with working through the tax credits on behalf of the producers.
Yes, that's a process that goes parallel to
right.
it.
I think we actually also have a trailer for your film.
Yep.
I think why don't we go to the trailer and we'll come back for a little more discussion.
Pleasure to meet you, Cyrano de Bergerac.
You're a freak. Freak.
My dearest friend, I'd be very angry with you if you died.
My sole purpose on this earth is to love Roxanne.
Does she know?
The world will never accept someone like me and a tall, beautiful woman.
We have no money. A clever marriage is your only option.
You're in love love with her. My fate is to love her from afar. We must let her decide our fate. She must have the choice.
Wow, spectacular. Congratulations. It looks amazing. I think we have one question from our audience.
I have a question about the state of the co-productions between Italy and Canada. Maybe Francesca can tell us something. Do you think there was an improvement in the last few years?
Let me say that I think ICFF, selfishly, has contributed to some of that over the past couple of years. Hopefully, by continuing these discussions, there's an opportunity to spur more of that.
I really think that all days like this and events like this and the work of ICFF can help to build a stronger relation, even stronger relation between the two countries.
Yeah, what I can say about that is, as Enrico said, is about opportunity. So you need to put in connection, because maybe there are a lot of projects out there in Canada and in Italy that can benefit from the co-production, but if there is no network, not opportunity to build it, it will become a little bit complicated.
I'm super impressed by ICFF and everything that they put together here, just by being here in the last couple of days, and wanted to thank Cristiano. It's incredible organization.
Any thoughts from your side on how we can spur more of the co-production collaborations between the two countries?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We've seen with the guests today, it's a real relationship between the production companies, whether it's a service production relationship or it's a true co-production. It's a marriage of not just development into production, into post, but the longevity of that film when it moves on, into cinemas and festivals and platforms. And I think that takes time. And I would agree. I think ICFF is building this place to start having that relationship, but it takes time. I think also to find a project and a story that connects with, in this case, Italian audiences and Canadian audiences. That if I speak on the Canadian side, that attracts a broadcaster or distributor that's going to want to be able to carry and promote and invest in the project, to locations, to stories that are just going to connect with both of our countries. It takes time. It's absolutely possible, and there's such imagination and creativity, in our two countries. But I think it's all of that. It's really wonderfully complex to be able to put these projects together, but that's what I would really try and encourage.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for being with us. Thank you, and we'll see you next year. Bye-bye.